you feeling the yacht rock?
Oh,
Big Biz Show continues. Sully and, of course, Mike Costa. He went from full-blown Spyro Gyra over to the Rolling Stone. Well done, DTT.
talent, the DTT.
Well done.
Talent allows you to do.
That is very nice. Good stuff. Hey, David Luci's back. David Luci is president and CEO of Acurx Pharmaceuticals. Here's why this is important. Because have you guys heard about how too many antibiotics have kind of spoiled the whole
Pool.
Yeah, have spoiled the bunch, girl. As Michael Jackson would say. It's, the long story short is antibiotics we're becoming resistant to them. And Acurx Pharmaceutical, and they are publicly traded under the stock symbol ACXP. Acurx Pharmaceutical has come up with a novel, newly approved antibiotic in a new class of antibiotics, as opposed to just being the new generation of an existing class. Meaning that we're not going to shrug these off. So I want to talk to him. He's a great guy. He's become a friend of mine. And of course, he's the CEO, so it makes me very important as well as president. It ain't about who you know, it's about who knows you.
Yes.
And David Luci knows me. Okay? That's all I have to say. Dave, what's up, brother? Good to see you, man.
Hey, Sully, great to be on.
Hey.
Good to see you.
Tell me and Mike and the Day Trader Trio here about the problem with the existing antibiotic environment, because it really is one of those things where you can't 100% count on it anymore, can you?
No, not at all. And the CDC says there's an urgent need for new classes of antibiotics, which is what we're working on. An entirely new class, new mechanism of action. The reason it's important is because bacteria recognizes new antibiotics that are just a small change from an existing class. So they become resistant very quickly. With a new class of antibiotics, the bacteria doesn't recognize your medicine as medicine, and you can treat bacteria very well and eliminate infection. And that's what we need. We don't need a fifth generation cephalosporin or penicillin. We need something brand new, and we need many of them. And that's what we're working on. We're in phase 2B right now in clinical trials.
So let's talk about you folks versus the norm, because this really is novel. And if approved, and it looks certainly like it's going to be, this changes the face of how disease is treated, or at the very least, how viruses are treated, correct?
Not viruses, but bacterial infections.
Bacterial infections, that's right.
Absolutely. So one of the things that antibiotics have done historically, 90+% of the time, is while they're curing a bacterial infection, they're destroying your microbiome, the healthy bacteria in your gut, which leads to cancer, diabetes, and reinfection. So one of the unique things, or almost unique things, about our lead drug for the treatment of C. difficile infection is that by the end of day 3 of treatment, you're cured of your C. difficile infection and you've got a healthy, restored microbiome. We're not destroying the microbiome. We're restoring it. It's 180 degrees opposite from what antibiotics usually get a bad name for.
So when you're thinking of bad name, does that mean that people are dying because they think they're taking antibiotics, but they're just ineffective?
Yeah, I mean, anytime you get an FDA approval for a new antibiotic, that's just a new generation of an existing class. It's a very small advance. The CDC will tell you, we need dozens of new classes of antibiotics to be approved. Otherwise, by 2050, bacterial infections will kill more people than cancer, than anything else.
Well, let's talk about one specific infection, that C. difficile infection. Let's talk about that for a minute, because that affects a lot of people. And this is good for your company, because there's not a lot of competition here in helping these folks out. Talk about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So our lead drug is in phase 2B to treat C. difficile infection. The phase 2A was 100% cures. It was ended halfway through the study by the scientific advisory committee because it was so successful. They said just move on to phase 2B because we need new drugs in this area. The lead antibiotic, the frontline treatment, is oral vancomycin. It involves recurrence of infection 20 to 40% of the time. C. difficile kills 30,000 Americans a year,
Jeez.
and 60,000 or 600,000 Americans a year
Jeez.
or thereabouts get it. We need something new. Pfizer's vaccine just failed. A few years ago, Sanofi's vaccine failed. And now it looks like Summit Therapeutics failed with another antibiotic that was trying to get frontline therapy, but failed to phase 3. So the seas have parted for us for frontline therapy if our phase 2B and beyond can just match what we already did in phase 2A.
So talk to me about the next 18 months and talk to me about everything from COVID to C. difficile to monkeypox.
Oh God.
To, I mean, seriously, I mean, because you're in the crosshairs of all of that potentially, and I realize you had a viral infection versus bacterial infection, but still, I want your perspective on the 50,000-foot view there.
Yeah, look, absolutely. You know, monkeypox, COVID-19, we wouldn't treat it, but the focus now being on infectious disease, because that's also an infectious disease, is helpful to us because 50% of those hospitalized with COVID go on a concomitant antibiotic. And we very well could be that if we get approval. So, you know, it's important, you know, but we won't be useful to treat monkeypox or COVID-19. But it's good to see now that there are therapeutics available to treat it. And if people are hospitalized, we could be used as an antibiotic for those who are hospitalized.
David, you've got a couple other therapies in the pipeline. You got this one that's right there. Talk about the other stuff you guys are doing.
Well, they're all the same class, brand new class, polymerase 3C inhibitors. The second drug is also a $1 billion target, peak year sales. It treats MRSA, and it's a Me Too Cubicin from Cubist Pharma, which was a $1 billion drug. And we think we'll be right there alongside of it. And our development is being run by senior research and development folks that took Cubicin out for Cubist Pharma. So that drug is going really well. And if we're still sitting here running the company 2 years from now, which I doubt, but if we are, I think the first thing we're going to be talking about is the second drug, not the first.
Well, do you know why he's saying that? Because he's going to get acquired, right? Is that the goal? I mean, look at you. No, because you bring these things to the 5-yard line, and then you take then a bigger biopharma comes and takes you over and brings it to market. Is that correct?
It's called the de-risking strategy, Sully. So basically, big pharma doesn't want to start, investing in products until they know that they work, which is proof of principle in phase 2 trials. So we take all the risk out, and then we don't have marketing capability unless we build it. So we look at it like it's a perfect marriage. If we were to do a deal after 2B, just as we're about to come out to market, the big pharma will make so much more money than we would that our shareholders will do better if it's in their hands. Better for the drug, better for public health.
Well, then we also get to see you work on your next deal that I get to be a part of. There you go.
Absolutely.
You got it. Thank you, brother. I'll talk you off the air. David Luci, President and CEO of Acurx Pharmaceuticals. ACXP is their website, or is their stock symbol? ACXP. Much more to come.